Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Is it still possible to stock the pantry on a budget? It's getting harder and harder. I can't believe how much prices have gone up, even at Walmart. But luckily, food is still available. I can still find things that I enjoy eating, and I can add to my stockpile, and I can still afford to buy food. So these are the items that I bought at Walmart. Let me show you the things I chose at Walmart so that I can add to my food storage and my prepper pantry stockpile. Foods that are easy, that I'm willing to eat, they're enjoyable, and I have various ways that I can prepare them. I bought 4 of each item because I figured if I really need to get into my food storage, I could make a meal with each of these items once a week for a month. Then I have basically a month's supply of that item. It doesn't mean I have a whole month's supply of food, but I have something that I could use, that I could continue to make meals week after week. You get my drift. So basically, make an emergency type menu and figure out what could you eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then go for day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, etc. And then if you repeat those items times 4, then you'll have a month's worth of food. It doesn't mean you can't eat it some other time if you want to, but that's how you can build your stockpile and have a feeling of how long can my food last, and is it going to be enough, and do I even know what I could do with these food items? So have an idea how you're going to use them when you buy them. Otherwise, they're really not very useful. First, I bought 4 cans of the Nally cheese chili. We don't often see it with cheese, and I thought that's a good way to have it. In case I can't have cheese in the future, then I would still be able to have an extra ingredient in my chili. And it didn't matter if these were cheese chili or just the plain. Every can of Nally's chili was $2.56. So the price for 4 was $10.24. Do you remember when you could get chili for $1? Maybe I'm just real old, but I can remember chili being $1. So it practically killed me to pay $2.56 for a can. But I have 4 cheese and chili. I could serve these over macaroni. I could roll them into a tortilla and make a burrito. There's all kinds of ways that you can serve chili if you don't want to just eat a can of chili, but you could do that too. Next, I bought a 4-pack of Chef Boyardee ravioli. I like these. Sometimes I stir it together with a can of vegetable soup, and then I make a ravioli soup. I was happy that I could still find the Chef Boyardee raviolis, and they were $5.58 for 4. Remember when they used to be $1? Doesn't seem like it was that long ago. Next, I bought a 4-pack of tuna. Tuna is something that's so simple and versatile. You could mix it together and make a tuna spaghetti. You can serve it into a tuna macaroni salad. You can stir it with mayonnaise and make a sandwich. And if you don't have bread, you could roll it into a tortilla, serve it on crackers. There's a lot of things that you can do with tuna. The tuna at Walmart in Alaska for a 4-pack was $5.58. Next, I bought 4 cans of corn. I bought 2 cans of creamed corn and 2 cans of kernel corn, and the kernel corn is no salt included. So that's going to be better, because sometimes when we buy canned foods, they're loaded with sodium. We may not necessarily like that. But I like to have the variety of a way to have corn. The creamy corn is great in soups and stews and casseroles. It gives it a creamier consistency. So I like to have both kinds of corn on hand. And they were $1 each. So I have 4 cans of corn for $4. Didn't they used to be about 68 cents? I don't know. I bought 4 cans of tomatoes. I bought 2 different types because I like to use them for variety in my recipes. So I have 2 of the Italian style petite diced tomatoes, and these include basil, garlic, and oregano. And then I bought 2 cans of the mild diced tomatoes with green chilies, and these are similar to Rotel. So I have 2 of each one. So I can turn them into Italian dinners. I can turn them into Mexican flavored dinners. There's all different ways that you can turn these into soups, stews, casseroles, serve them over pasta, mix them in with all kinds of different things. I have a lot of different ways that I use canned tomatoes, so these are going to be versatile in my pantry. The petite diced tomatoes were $1.24, and the mild diced tomatoes with green chilies was $1.14. I bought 4 cans of my favorite soup because if I'm going to have 4 cans, I would like ones that I enjoy. So I like the Campbell's Chunky pub-style chicken pot pie. This is also good. If you want to stretch it, you can serve it over some instant mashed potatoes, like the Idahoan mashed potatoes. They're good that way. And all kinds of different chunky soups are good. You can stretch them with serving them with rice or with pasta, or like I said, mashed potatoes. There's different ways, but it kind of depends on what flavor you have of what it's going to go best with. Campbell's Chunky Soup was $2.74 each, so it was $10.96 for 4 cans of the chunky soup here in Alaska at Walmart. Then something that I have been able to find at Walmart in Alaska are the Augustin Farms. They're freeze-dried and dehydrated foods. They're packaged to last the longest. And I was able to find the Augustin Farms freeze-dried peas. The freeze-dried peas were $21.04. They're exactly the same price on Amazon that I looked at today. But this is like the old label. They're changing the labels, and so I don't know if this one was available because it's been in the store for a while, but it's okay if this one's been there a while because the food can last for decades. And I like the Augustin Farms because they come with the plastic lid on them. So when you open them, you can put that lid back on it and keep it in your pantry. Or you can put them into, say, a jar and put on a tight-fitting lid. One of the problems when you buy the food from the LDS or the Mormon Church, you can buy lots of the longest lasting foods already freeze-dried, dehydrated in cans, and you buy a box, you get 6 of each one in that box. But they don't come with the lids. So if you ever have these extra lids, save them because sometimes they break, plus some items don't come with them, and if you're going to use your food, you need to have those lids. I don't care for canned peas at all, and I didn't have frozen peas recently when I wanted to have some. I have a dehydrator, and I have used it before to dehydrate frozen peas. But you know, it's less money, but it's still a lot of work, and you can't just take the price of the peas. You also have to consider the electricity that you're using when you're dehydrating your peas, and then you need a container, which if you're recycling one, you still had to wash it and use soap and water. So there are hidden costs in dehydrating your own food. It can still be cheaper, but sometimes it's super convenient to get the food that's already prepared and it's going to last. And I have always had good luck with the Augustin Farms products. And sometimes the ones that I've dehydrated myself, they're not going to last as long as these are because these are done professionally and they're done with higher standards of care than I would necessarily be able to reproduce in my home. So to me, it's worth it to occasionally pick up the longest lasting foods. I have them in my pantry, but if I want, I can open them. They're not in such a huge amount of food that I would be afraid to open it. Once you open these cans, they need to be used up within about a year. But I suppose if you really put it in an airtight container, in a jar, maybe even added an oxygen absorber, probably it would last longer than a year because you've made it airtight again, which is more airtight than it's going to be if all you did was leave it in the can and put on the lid. Anyway, I recommend that if you like to have some of the longest lasting foods, pick them up when you can find them at a good price and choose foods that you would eat normally anyway. I don't care for canned peas at all, so you'll never find them in my home. Sometimes it's nice to have the frozen peas, but then we also have to be concerned if we lose electricity, we lose all the food in our freezer. So for me, having this option in my prepper pantry is a nice idea. So these are the foods that I bought on my hopefully budget stock up at Walmart in Alaska, and these are the prices that they were. Let us know in the comments below, what are the prices where you are, and do you think prices in Alaska are higher than they are in the lower 48? Sometimes I'm just positive they are, but not always. Sometimes they're still the same, and yeah, everything has to get shipped up here, so it's just going to cost more. But that's okay. I love living here, so it's worth it to me. Every single extra penny is worth it for the enjoyment I have from living in Alaska. I hope you'll like my video, share it. Please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.